Welcome back to the Franklin Factor podcast. So we are talking today about what the value being on the Franklin team specifically could bring to you. And I wanted to make sure Danielle, who is here co-host with me, I want to have her give some background on her experience in the industry. And we're going to talk through some other points about what the Franklin team offers. So Danielle?
And you did not prep me for this, so it's very off the cusp. So I've been in the real estate industry for 11 years, and I don't know if you know
11
this.
years.
Yes.
Wow.
In 2014, I got into title. There was a conference at the time that was, I think it's another brokerage thing. It's called Bold, essentially. And I started there and I built relationships, obviously just being in title and trying to get business. And then I got recruited to another large team. And so started there as an inside sales agent, which is crazy to think about. And I did that for a couple of years. And then essentially I got promoted into the listing specialist role for that large team, successful team. Did that for a couple of years. And then from that point on, maybe like year 4 or 5 into my real estate career, I really started getting into training, coaching, leadership. With the experience of being in production at such a high volume, it was helpful to come back and then be key, like kind of coach and trainer. And so I did that for a number of years, and then obviously got connected with you guys a few years ago, which was a godsend, and came on as a sales manager here, helping running our retail division team with a lot of agents. And with my background in ISAs as well, and managing that team from my old team having 20 ISAs and us building our ISA, just kind of have my hands in a little bit of all of it. And then obviously I was a listing specialist for you and Andrew for a year, and managing those agents right now. And I kind of
coaching
yes,
now.
coaching.
I mean, you definitely have your hand in a lot, but you also have so much experience. Like you bring so much to the table being in those different roles and different parts of the real estate transaction. So obviously when the lead comes in and, going through that, coaching people on how to take the transaction to other levels, and then the listing side as well. So there's a lot that you bring to the table. So kind of share with everybody kind of where the value is and your experience. So I'm excited. So for our listeners, obviously this could be for, somebody who's a solo agent considering a team, or even maybe team owners who are trying to, diversify what they're able to offer to agents. So what do you think are some of the key advantages to being on a team?
I could list probably 20 different things because I'm so passionate about this. But before I answer, I always tend to think, what are the reasons why people don't want to join a team? And I think most of the time when people are weighing the option of being solo or joining a team, 2 things come to mind. One, they really are fit personality-wise to be solo, meaning like one of our core values is being a team player. And maybe that is not for everyone, right? There are a lot of people that truly, truly are very much so entrepreneur-like of they can figure it out on their own. It's very rare, but there are people out there, right? So I want to recognize that. Like it works for some people.
Absolutely.
80 to 90% of the world, it doesn't. And then the second thing that I constantly hear with recruiting and interviewing and being a part of this process and being a part of the retention here of bringing on agents and keeping them onboarded and
keeping them producing.
Is essentially they're focused on typically what they're losing on a team, which is typically about the split. So for me,
I think that's important. Let's kind of talk about that for a second. Like, I feel like when we hear about agents, we hear, well, what was the split? That's their first question, and it's like, okay, well, that's much deeper than like, it's not just that. And I think it should be looking at like, what do you get with your split, right? Like, I mean, is that kind of how you would look at it?
Yeah. Like for me, money is important. Absolutely. I have a baby girl. I have a husband. We have bills. We have dreams and goals. However, my mental sanity and my bandwidth is important. My time off, right? So being able to collaborate, being able to be efficient, being able to share expenses with the team, being able to, be mentored and have training training, right? The value of the team is really essentially time. And money has a cost. Time doesn't have a price tag on it. So when you break down all of that stuff that a team like the Franklin team has to offer, you can't compare the two. I just think sometimes either we as maybe small team leaders or large team leaders, if we cannot truly show the value of our team, one, we need to take a look internally and say, do we actually have value, right? Are we executing on all these things that we have to say? Or two, are we actually financially breaking it down and showing somebody that's considering, you have to take on all your marketing. You have to take on all of your overhead costs, your CRM costs, like where are your leads coming from, right? Our team takes care of all of that for you. So,
and I think let's kind of break it down a little bit. Like one of the things that I think has always been a big part of why I like to do stuff. And I've only ever been on a team, right? But a big part of how I just go through life is how is efficiency is the biggest deal. Like I have young kids as well and a family, and I don't want to be working 24/7. So how can it be more efficient? Like what we're talking about by efficiency is, right, we've got people who help with documents and importing documents to get paid. We've got the efficiency is big, time and efficiency, right?
So what efficiency allows is the agent to be specialized. Okay. So there's 100 things in a transaction or in the real estate world that a single agent has to do. With efficiency and with leverage and with support and with marketing and shared cost and a team environment, now those 100 things really allow me to leverage the things that I'm not strong in and focus on closing deals, negotiating, talking to clients, converting business.
Yes.
So the things that I enjoy, the things that I'm passionate about, instead of running around 80 hours a week trying to figure out where is my next paycheck coming from, trying to do marketing, trying to do open houses, trying to create content, trying to call different prospects, trying to figure out where leads and businesses are, I have the team operating in all of those spaces for me.
Yeah. We've got there's people who are specialized. Like you're not having to go out and you got a listing. Amazing. You're not having to do the sign, the lockbox, the photography, all the paperwork. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people don't realize. One of our agents on our team was talking to another team at some point, and they said that, they were going to have to go out and put a sign in.
And our agent was like, nope.
Really? Like, you don't have so, I mean, there's what makes the most sense? What is going to get that agent producing more? And it's definitely not going to put signs and lock boxes or take photos with their mobile phone. Did I just say mobile phone?
The camera.
But there's just everybody, I feel like on a lot of teams, especially ours, there is a specialized role. They are a specialized role. They are the pro at that. So if they're helping with scheduling different appointments, getting the photography, all that different stuff, that marketing, we've got people who specialize in that. I mean, there's so much to where we're able to really just go, and you are doing, if you're really good agent at getting new business but you're not good at paperwork, then you shouldn't be doing paperwork. Right. And
even if you're really good at paperwork, maybe in this role, what is most money making? What are the money making activities? Is it really doing paperwork, or should we be leveraging that? And so I think that's where teams also help you stay accountable, right, to your time and to what you are saying yes to and what you're saying no to. All day long, I could be really good at calling people. All day long, I could be really good with contract to close and talking and emailing and all that. Is that actually going to produce and help me achieve my goals financially?
I think that is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You're so right, because is my time, what I'm worth, what is the most producing that I can do out of it?
Understanding what a team would provide, right? When agents come to us on the Franklin team, one, they're usually referred by a friend or an agent on the team. Two, they're brand new to real estate, and so they hear of our name through our reputation and our branding and marketing, and so they come and they want to know, what am I getting? So I think the Franklin team's done a really good job, and we're always kind of ideating on what else is the agent needing, right? Recently, we added a transaction coordinator to be able to write offers for the agent that's on the go, that's showing 10 houses in a row. So we have things like that, but we also have more consistent things like inside sales agents. number one question from any agent, whether you're experienced or brand new, how much business are you giving your agents? We were talking about COVID in our last episode, and I remember that Carrie Bond, our president, said on a weekly basis, we had 300 to 500 leads. Right now we're handing over 50 to 100 qualified. The team and the ISAs are handing off about 50 to 75, maybe is a more accurate number, of leads, qualified buyers and sellers to our agents. Okay.
Well,
on a week.
That's amazing. But break that down. What does qualified mean? That's a big part of that ISA role, that if you're a solo agent, you're not, who has the, time
go through your phone book, right? Call your friends and start asking questions.
It's not like the person answers the first time. So these ISAs are calling, texting. Go over that, since you are over that department. Like, what exactly does qualified leads mean?
So one thing we look at is, can the agent convert the lead? Do we have an opportunity to earn this lead's business? So are they motivated? Are they financially capable? And is the time frame realistic? If you're financially motivated, cool. But if your plan is to move in 3 years, you're not we're not handing that off. So these leads, 50 to 75 a week for our agents. And that's on top of just all the other leads that we have in our database of almost 6 figures, right? These are people that the agent, with our training that we provide through our onboarding process, they should be able to convert. Set an appointment, go meet with them, show them a house, set a listing appointment.
They're ready to go. They're not only financially kind of been qualified, but their timeline is in a real timeline that's acceptable. And in the next 3 to 6 months, and then they hand that over once they feel like this person's ready to go. Those are 50 to 75 of those a week.
Yes. And I want to speak to this. So we have, 60 agents on our team that those leads. So if you think about it as a ratio, it's not going to sound like a lot. So I want to make sure our listeners understand, even though we have 60 agents on the team, not all of them are actually we have 10 that are not really working
in that retail division.
And then we also have a portion of the producers and the converters that we are supporting in a way, or they're earning the right, or they're staying accountable to what the team's asking of them to be good stewards of these leads and of these investments that our ISAs, overhead, cost per lead, all of that, right? So there is a fluctuation of, on any given week, maybe there's only 20 agents taking those 75 leads, right? So, but still 2 to 3 qualified, ready, go meet with them in person, guaranteed a week. That is really valuable. If you're thinking about it as a single agent, or as new to the business, or somebody that's wanting to grow their business.
And I think that's the biggest thing, because I think a lot of agents, when they're talking to other teams or other brokerages, they ask about leads, but they don't ask where in the funnel are these leads, right? Where are they, leads that are way up in the funnel that aren't even, like you said, 3 years to go? Or are these ready and willing and able to buy leads now?
I geek out over this stuff, because to me, this is just our ISA portion of leads. Okay. We're not even talking about some of the platforms that we are one of the only exclusive teams in the Houston greater area that are getting leads to a couple of different platforms. I don't know if I can say the names or not. That are agents. I just spoke with an agent a couple of weeks ago. Since the beginning of January, she's received 70 leads from this platform. 70, right? And so me as her coach on a weekly basis, helping her figure out, where are these 70 leads from, right? Is it a capacity thing? Is it a skill thing? Is it a motive? How are we not converting those, or what are we converting of those? And so again, leverage of accountability and just coaching and understanding where are things in your business. As an agent, I know. So the ISAs are not just a piece of that, but then also the leadership and mentorship piece is another, leadership as a whole, right? You have Megan, our sales manager. You have people like me as business coaches that are coming in and helping agents make sure we look at everything in order to help you achieve your goals this year, right? As an agent, you can get so busy on the road doing all the busy things. Sometimes it is necessary for somebody, a third party, to come in and say, hey, Sarah, you're doing a lot, and I can tell you're about to burn out. What is most important? Eat your frog first in the morning, right? And so having those conversations, now some agents don't need as much accountability as others. And so what I like about the Franklin team is you guys allow people to kind of pick and choose what they need from the team, but also we know what's best for agents to succeed here.
And I think that's important, the coaching, because I think a lot of brokerages or teams may say they have the training, which is their training's great,
Yeah.
get people up and going, but also like the coaching, like, is there somebody that's really like available to maybe talk through a scenario in a transaction? Like, hey, are we the type of team that's just going to let people out and like you sink or you swim? No.
Or other
we don't do
brokerages
that.
or teams have a coach, but you have to pay for it.
That's true.
And so that's a cost as well. And I am all for coaching, paid for, unpaid for. Like, I think it's essential for growth and to always have a mindset of being a learner and being open to coaching. However, that's something that the Franklin team takes on and has hired position people. We have outside coaches as well that the team takes on that cost. Again, agents get to opt in. What I like about the Franklin team is that a lot of people have this idea of, if I'm going to go be my own business owner and I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to start my real estate company, if I join a team, I'm going to have to kind of mold to what they want and what they expect. It's true and not true. Okay. I think it's where you go. The Franklin team, as long as you mold to our core values and you are a good steward of what we're giving you, right? If we're giving you leads that we've paid for and you just don't care about it, we're going to have a conversation.
Right.
But what I love is we have agents on our team where we don't bring you in, Sarah, and say, here's how we do business. This is what
XYZ,
you must
right.
Open houses. You have to do this. We can give you the framework for success. You need to figure out with your business coach and your sales manager, what are your natural, what's your natural ability and what are you good at? What do you want to do? How do we help you grow from there? And so I like that about the Franklin team. It's very different from what I've seen on other teams.
Yeah. So Danielle, when you were talking about the leadership team, we also have marketing is a big part of what we do for our branding. We never really did a ton of advertising, but we're doing a lot more now of that over these last few years, trying to get more leads that we're purchasing, getting our name out there. Talk a little bit about how you think our marketing may be different than other teams that you've, seen or been a part of.
For me, I think it takes the work out of the agent. Okay. So there's so many teams out there that have great marketing, great content, cute videos, lots of followers. So I don't necessarily think that that's the goal and the intent behind the heartbeat of our marketing team. Every conversation that we ever have or that I know about on the leadership team is how can we just take that on for the agent? We have a full-time videographer that does everything, comes in, sets up our podcast for us. Okay. But really, let's talk about that. Agents want to do content. We have somebody, our VP of marketing, who's also our VP of operations, and she's just a VP all around. I love her. I can reach out to her and within one email or one conversation, she's like, we have that, I can do it, send it over. Right.
She can schedule for they do the listings, they do personal content. If you want to schedule with a video,
helping you brand,
anything.
gives us
just
colors, logos, templates. I love that when we were discussing building this podcast, I immediately reached out to her and I'm like, this is your wheelhouse. And just the little connections and the things that she's giving me, again, the time that I am getting back because of somebody being an expert and specializing in marketing to help me be efficient and give me time back. It's just
And to
priceless.
Be completely honest, she hasn't done a podcast before. We have such rock stars on our team where maybe they don't necessarily have the experience on certain things, but they're doers and they're going to find out, which I think is what sets our team apart and why we've had such amazing team members. I know that wasn't part of what we were going to discuss.
Well,
but
look at your social media.
Forever.
It's awesome. Look at the team members' social media. Have you ever looked at a team sometimes and then you go look at individual agents and then you're just like, oh man, we know who's good and not good at that.
Right. Yeah.
We don't want that for agents on our team, right?
No,
I know
that representation of our team, right?
I'm not necessarily good at that. Like, y'all don't be going my social media, okay? Because I'm not good. It's not something that I flourish in. But it's so awesome that I have, if that was something that I wanted to pursue.
If you wanted to focus on it.
pursue it. So just so you know.
Right. But that's because you don't really need to do that, right? Like you're not like focusing on getting outside. It's again, what are your goals? What is your job and like what you're trying to do and achieve? And then focus on that. You don't really, that's a different scenario, right? But like a lot of agents who are doing this and wanting to get more business, they're branding themselves. And that's a whole nother thing to speak about that we'll probably talk about in another episode is about how our brokerage allows you to brand however you want.
Yes.
So obviously when you're on a team, you have your team branding and guidelines on that. the brokerage does have some guidelines. We're with EXP, and but they are the most flexible on branding. We actually did, speaking of social media, a social media thing recently with a lot of teams in Houston that have come with us, and how different our signs for listings are. So it'll be interesting to see that when it's finally out, because they're very different. But EXP is so flexible about that. Most other brokerages, the one we were at previously, was very picky about a certain logo that they were known for that had to be a certain size. And I mean, I have a funny story about that. We had a billboard years ago, and they made us take down the billboard because the balloon was not, I don't even know if I should be saying that, but was not the certain size.
Right.
And we had to pay
There's
to have it
some
redone.
freedom. What you're saying
There's
is
freedom and flexibility.
Absolutely.
Which is huge.
And, you know, I even think back to, we can stay on the marketing topic right now, our marketing team. If you're a solo agent, and let's say you have some business established, or you've been in real estate for a few years, you have a smaller team, you likely are not keeping up with your database and your repeat clients via email, via phone calls, forever touches, right? Of just staying in touch. I know with the amount of production that I've always done or want to do, that is time consuming. First of all, I'm not a copywriter.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not good.
Or just remembering to do it.
Like, in what is new, what's not new, what gets clicks. And so all of that, again, it goes back to leverage and time and having an expert who knows that, you know, and we have a lot of agents that are creative and will come to us and say, hey, can we do this? Guess what? 100%.
Yeah,
if
they want to send out, like, you know, anniversary cards, or just say, hey, remember, I mean, yes. I mean, we're all about that. Anything that we can help. We have a marketing team. Bree will go ahead and help create it. You know, really, there's just so many different opportunities.
Yes.
You just have to be willing to do it.
I will say, we balance it though with accountability, right? So if we've been in business for 40 plus years. I don't know how much Jimmy was doing marketing wise back then, but
not a lot.
Okay, but let's say the past 10 years. I have more than 10 years experience. You do. And we've seen a lot of stuff that I know this team and other teams have spent money on with no return. And so I think sometimes there is this side to agents when they want money from the team to create little pop buys to do something. I know when I'm coaching an agent that has an idea and they're so passionate, it's awesome, they're creative, and they want the team to help fund. My first question is like, have you done the due diligence on this, right? What's your plan to sustain this, right? And what's your expected return on investment, right? So just always knowing that we as a leadership team are going to filter that kind of stuff and investment on our agents, also with some accountability, right? I know for a fact, we've said yes to a lot of things that we've done once and we failed, and we're saying, hey, we may not do this the same way next time because we learned that we didn't get the ROI out of it that we wanted. So we're going to do it better, or we may not spend as much, or we ask this of the agent in order to invest or in order to help. So I do want to say that I think we do a really good job of allowing the freedom, but also help coaching that agent into what's your sustainable plan. If you want to be a pop buy agent, let's think about how many pop buys do you really have to do to get business
back. And do you have a plan? Yeah. And I mean, it's a business, right? So it's like, we don't have endless amount of funds, like nobody does, right? So it's got to make sense financially. If we were able to do everything that we've done over the years and just willy-nilly just do it, we probably wouldn't be here, right? Yeah. So it's
and I feel like all team leaders right now listening to us are like, yes, we understand.
Been there.
But I say that from an agent perspective because sometimes as an agent, you hear no, and that's all you hear. And what it's really doing is it's helping the agent kind of say, no, but how could this work, right? How else could I figure this out? Or maybe it's a no because you need to just be focusing your time elsewhere on those money-making activities, not spending 8 hours a week creating a pop buy that you only have a one-time touch for. If you came to me for 12 months and told me this is how much it's going to cost, this is what I'm going to seek in return, here's the call to action. I've seen Bree, our VP of marketing, pop those things out and help print. So
I think that's a good, segue into kind of what you're saying about the just seeing the no. I think it's also like the mindset of an agent. Like, they are here because of something, right?
Yes.
They don't have the whatever it may be. They don't have the leads, or they want the accountability. They want the coaching. And so the mindset of, an agent coming onto a team to seek the knowledge, seek kind of what's been set up, instead of maybe having that negative mindset. I think that's a big part of people and success. over the years, I've been kind of focusing on like trying to have that more positive mindset just about life in general.
Abundance, right?
Abundance. And it's just, to me, I think is a huge difference from somebody who has that abundance mindset than that woe is me and everybody's out to get me mindset. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it comes back to us, right? I really want to take ownership in, I know that our value is real. We don't just talk the talk, like we walk the walk, right? And so if there's somebody that cannot understand, like fully comprehend what they're getting, either we miss the mark really creating and sharing the value, or they are just not willing to give up their mindset of fear, right? And understand there's another side to the coin of like seeing it in a different perspective. So I think that, again, it's in all of the delivery. Sometimes it takes just nickel and diming it out. How much do signs cost? How much gas does it cost? Line iteming it out. People can really understand the benefit of the team. But sometimes it's like you're saying, it's a mindset and they're locked in a cage and they're not going to come out of that.
And not everybody is the right fit. Like we're not saying that that's the way. We think we do provide a really great value, and we'd love to have, we're
a little biased.
We're a little biased, yes, but we'd love to have agents with the same mindset and have our core values and want to sell real estate, right? Like that's our goal. So, I think that's really important.
Real quick, I wanted to go over, because we didn't hit all of these. So we have ISAs, we have VAs, we have marketing team, we have content creation, we have VAs as editors, we have a full-time videographer, we have photographers, we have stagers, we have database management people, we have sales managers, listing managers, director of listings, transaction coordinators, we have runners, and we have new construction experts and salespeople. And that is not including any kind of leadership coaching or training or onboarding or recruiting.
Wow. That was a lot to say right then. That's a lot of people. I mean, we have, I think technically the last time I checked with Carrie, there's about on payroll. And did you include like our builders team that wasn't included in there? I don't even know. You may have said it, but there's like 40 or 50 paid people that have a specialized role, like we were talking about in the beginning. I mean, that's a lot of staff that are specialized in doing that actual role. So there's a lot that comes to that. And that's a lot to even like wrap our head around and talk fully in an episode. But I think there is a huge, huge value that maybe somebody doesn't always necessarily see, or they're hearing it now for the first time.
Yeah. It's easy to sell the value of the Franklin team. I think taking that out, sometimes it's appropriate to look at the cost of running your own business too, right? Cool, Sarah, I don't need coaching and accountability. I don't need a rock star marketing person. My split is way better over at this brokerage or something, but everybody is paying for certain things in their business. And so I think ultimately looking at what are the costs of running your own business, because there's a ceiling that you will hit and you will have to add on, or you're going to have to make a decision there. And so that's where when I do talk to, or in recruiting, or I have friends that are solo agents all the time, and we have this conversation because I've always been a part of the team. The constant thing that comes up is it always comes down to cost and then hitting a cap. And I think that if people are willing to possibly, it may not even be a step backwards, but take a little bit of a step back by joining a team with having to pay a little bit on split, right? The abundance mindset says, yet you get to go past and have a breakthrough past that ceiling where you, capacity-wise, Sarah, you cannot do it on your own. If you're closing 10 a month every single month and you're trying to get to 20 and you can never get to 12, that's a capacity thing.
Right.
So I just think ultimately at some point you can only grow so much yourself, right?
Absolutely. Until you're also then, hiring people. So what's the cost? And then hiring somebody to do those things versus
managing
joining a team and then managing. That's a whole nother ball game, is managing. I think that's what a lot of people don't even realize when they go in and they're like, oh, I'll hire. How do you manage? Do you know how to manage? Have you been a manager in the past? Can you hold people accountable? Right? Yeah. Like you need to hold yourself accountable, but now you're responsible for other people. And that's where, all that has been done on our team, and really just.
Yes. So it's the ceiling, right? There's a limited, in my opinion, again, I'm biased, but there's limitations of being self-sufficient essentially.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is the lead generation challenges. As a team, we get more opportunity with some of these lead options. I could drop 3 or 4 companies that I know we are exclusively getting leads from, and it is lucrative and it is a good ROI. And our agents, 60 of them, they never complain about them, right? Mm-mm. So to me, as a solo agent or a smaller team, possibly, I don't know, but I just know that it's more difficult to get opportunities with these big time lead sources.
And be exclusive.
And
right?
they're costly too.
Very costly.
So on top of that, if you are able to, as a solo agent, get an opportunity with them, stakes are high because you can't lose that lead source, right? So how are you managing your time to keep up with that lead source and their platform and their website and their updates? We have all that taken care of for the agent.
You'll quickly be dropped if you're not converting a certain amount. I'm coming up, I don't want to do names, but you have to be able to convert at a certain amount or you're knocked down. And then after so many months of not, being low in that percentage, you then are getting less of a good leads and potentially, maybe kicked out of that lead source. So again, there's just so many different layers that we could unpack of just one little value add that we have that would be just huge that agents don't necessarily think about.
Yeah. And then the last thing that I would say that's costly of being on your own, it's possibly just something that's intrinsic about us being in real estate 7 days a week, right? Creating boundaries, that's really hard when you don't have support, when you don't have a backup. And so being on a team always, I have felt like it has given me an opportunity to, and again, my definition of a good work-life balance is going to be totally different from yours, totally different than somebody else. You can train
burnout.
You can train a neighbor and say, hey, here's my book of business. You can't do that. And so unless, you have made relationships and colleagues, but ultimately for me, I think that's a big difference too. The value of a team and having people and a CRM and support to take calls and to respond and have a backup.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that's, again, cost, right? Like if they did want to just stay independent, they could have another agent or an assistant come on, but that's costs money.
Yep.
And everything costs money. And I think that's what kind of it comes down to is the money, but also then the value of what being on a team and or, our team and what we're able to provide. So I think that episode was great. And I hope we brought lots of value to you about the value that the Franklin team provides to an agent. So please subscribe, and share, and reach out if you have any questions about joining a team.
If you would like to learn more about joining the Franklin team and come to one of our informationals, please check out the episode notes below and click the link to sign up. Also, if you're not local and you want to learn more about teams that are operating like-minded like us, the Franklin team, please reach out to us or go to our website, send us a note, or again, sign up for the informational below. Take care.